Folks, I've got an exciting topic for you today. We're going to talk about being inside the mind of a franchise business owner here on the Franchise Radio Show because we're joined by Angela Williams, the president and co-founder of DetailXPerts. She's our guest today, and she has seen every side of entrepreneurship. We're going to talk today about franchising, the fear, the failure, and some lessons learned along the way. Angela, thank you so much for jumping in with us. I appreciate that.
John, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Now, look, before we get into the business stuff, I always like to ask about the person, right? Everybody wants to know, who are we talking to, right? So, for the next 30 seconds to 45 seconds, just walk us through, who is Angela Williams?
So, John, I am a wife and a mother. I have been in the business world for over 30 years. I started off as a bean counter. So I'd say there's the bean counter in me always. Then I kind of transitioned to the information technology, then did a little bit of marketing, etc. So I'm an all-around functional techie.
All right, good deal. So the bean counter, we'll title the podcast "Interview with Bean Counter Angela Williams." How about that?
You got it.
Now, how did you get into franchising though? Because it sounds like you had a couple different things that you did there that kind of probably led the way the path worked there to other things. But how did you get into franchising?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Our son, who was 8 years old at the time, said to his dad, my husband Emmanuel, "Hey Dad, why don't we clean cars with steam?" And Emmanuel, being so fascinated with steam and everything mechanical, said, "I don't know, but let me see if I can figure it out." So he toiled around with it for 2 years, and in 2004, he said, "I got it. I figured out a method to clean the exterior portion of vehicles with steam." And wow, was he excited. So immediately he came to me to tell me the story, and I said, "Great. Once you figure it all out, then I'll help you with the marketing." And that's how I got involved in franchising.
That's great. So you were a little pulled into it by the spousal osmosis method, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. I love it. Now, let's talk about the franchise company, right? You kind of alluded just a little bit to what you guys do, but just walk us through like maybe the history of the company. We just got a real quick version of the start, but just walk us through where and when you started, what the path and journey has been like, and then bring us up to speed on where you guys are at today.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. So about that time, I want to say that our son, little Emmanuel, they got off their knees as they were offering detailing services for free at the local supermarket. "If you like my services, you can pay me. If you don't like it, you don't have to pay me." So you talk about humble beginnings. That definitely describes our business. Well, we got a chance in 2006 to work with a large property management company.
Okay.
And that property management company introduced us to a parking management company. They were looking for a concierge service that they can offer in the new mall that they were building in Indianapolis, the Circle City Mall. So for us, we decided, oh, wow, this is exciting. So we picked up our operations from Detroit, Michigan, and moved it to Indianapolis, Indiana, literally the whole operation. And as we got into the business, they loved it. We loved it. We saw that we had something great. They then asked us to expand throughout all of their locations around the country. And that's when we decided that franchising was the way for us to expand. So we got there offering auto detailing services to cars, trucks, planes, trains, etc. Now you may say it started off in the garage. So we focused in on customers that were looking for services at their convenience. And then we expanded more to relationship based, where we offered it to larger companies as well.
Gotcha. And then bring us up to speed on where you're at. How large has the company grown? What have you been able to do for the past few years there? That type of thing?
Yeah. So in 2008 is when we franchised. And interesting enough, that was during the economic downturn. So it wasn't a great time to franchise, but we finished everything. Now we're available to offer franchises in the 38 registration states plus everywhere else. Well, things were moving a little slow. So these are one of the challenges in the business, but you don't give up. We were fortunate enough to get a phone call from the royal family of Abu Dhabi and Dubai. They reached out. They said, "I love the concept. I found you on the internet, and we have lots of water." Other way around. We have no water.
No water, right.
But we have lots of money. So we love your concept because it does not use a whole lot of water. And that was exciting. After we checked it all out, then we knew that it was the right place for us to go. So we spent 3 weeks there with our business consultant, Bob, and we signed the master franchise at that time. So we actually have more locations through that master franchise internationally than we do in the US. So once the economy started to come back in 14, 15, 16, then we found ourselves with lots of opportunity to expand and grow, and that we did. So we have 90 franchise units worldwide,
Okay.
and we're excited that that growth and development continues.
That is an exciting story, I'll tell you, and it's obviously a little more unusual than what most franchisors experience. It's interesting you said they found you on the internet and they had no water, and it just makes so much sense, like when it clicks, because obviously I did a little bit of research on your concept before the show here, and like that was probably as exciting for them as it was for you, right?
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
once you
And
verify, hey, this is the real deal, go over and meet them, and it works out. It's like, oh my gosh, like we didn't know this, but we created our model for you,
that's
right?
right. And you know what, John? It's so funny because people always ask us, well, did you plan to do that? Did you plan to
Right.
franchise internationally? Did you
Yeah,
plan to get a
sure.
company? It's like, yeah, yeah. No, not really. It was the power of search engine optimization is how we got found. And that's definitely one of the methods that we recommend to our franchise owners even today. It worked.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about it because we've touched on it just a little bit here on one of the unique opportunities with your company. You know, folks will refer to it as the unique selling proposition, the USP. What is your unique differentiator in your franchise? I already know what it is, but I want our listeners to hear it.
Yeah, you know, the great thing about it is we can actually set up anywhere. We can set up in the back of a parking lot. We can set up in a conference center. We can set up anywhere and offer our services because there's not a lot of water. We use green processes, so that's biodegradable products, as well as our steam method. We can literally clean one car with a bottle of water. So when you really think about it, it is not a lot of water used in our process. So you don't have to worry about getting water on the ground. So you'll have a problem with the EPA of getting it into the wastewater system.
That's great. So let me make sure I heard that right. We can clean an entire vehicle with a bottle of water.
With a bottle of water.
Now it's
That's
not a
right.
55-gallon bottle of
No,
water.
no, no.
Okay,
It's
right.
a bottle of water. It's the
Right.
one that I'm drinking right here.
Right, right. The little wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. That's something else, I'll tell you. I mean, because obviously, you know, I've washed my own car and go onto the car wash, and I know there's way more than a bottle of water being used at a car wash and or through my own hose at home, right?
That's right. So it's the power of steam. It's able to multiply itself 1,500 times. So when you
Wow.
think of a cup of water, 1 cup equals 1,500 cups of steam.
I see. Okay. Got it. Got it. Great. Now, there's got to be some misconceptions about your business. What would you say when folks say, you know, hey, Angela, I'm interested in learning more about your business, but then you get on the phone with them. And I know this happens to every franchise company in existence, regardless of industry. You get on the phone with them and you're talking with them, getting to know them, they're getting to know you, but they have this thought in their mind that they think they know something about your business. What is that most common misconception that most people will have when they first start talking with you guys?
You know, probably the biggest thing is one, they'll say things like, well, when I look at the drive-through car wash down the street, it's like $3. So how is it that you can actually grow a business charging $3? And it's like, well, there's a difference between car wash and detailing. That's the first difference. That's a misconception. Detailing is getting down into the crevices of the vehicle and really getting it clean. And the fact that we can actually clean the exterior part of vehicles with steam too, that's a value add. So it's definitely understanding the difference between a car wash and detailing and who our typical clients are. Our
Sure.
typical clients would be dealerships. It would be large companies with fleets of vehicles. It can be anyone from, yes, a residential client can offer the services, but if you're actually doing services with, let's say, a FedEx or UPS or a Ryder, those are other possible customers that you can imagine are looking for much more than a drive-through car wash.
I see. So understanding the difference of what the service is that you're actually providing, and also who are you providing that service to, right? So we're not necessarily
Absolutely.
servicing, not that you couldn't do this for an individual vehicle in someone's driveway, but typically you're seeing this much more in a B2B commercial application with larger, you know, folks with more cars or trucks or vans. Now you mentioned real quick, I just want to touch on something. You mentioned like planes and other vehicles, anything that needs to be washed or detailed, you guys can service, right?
Absolutely. We can service that using our patent pending method of steam.
Good deal. All right. Now let's talk about the industry. Let's talk about the industry as a whole. If somebody's out there thinking about getting into the industry, why should they consider getting into the industry? Why should they consider getting into the industry with Detail Experts?
Yeah, the exciting part is the automotive industry is growing. We know all the issues with getting parts and so on. So people are starting to keep their vehicles longer. And because of that, they have to maintain those vehicles, not just for aesthetics, though that's nice too, but really to keep them in good working condition. I mean, I think about one of our clients that owns a fleet of trucks. The biggest fine that they receive is once their drivers are driving along on the highway, their truck is a bit dirty. They tend to get pulled over most often by the DOT. So the Department of Transportation pull them over more. The minimum fine is $2,000. So if you're ever driving on the highway and you see a truck pulled over with the wonderful cherry lights, just know that the minimum fine is about $2,000. Most companies want to avoid that. So they want somebody to come in and maintain their vehicles. So maintaining vehicles in a period where people are keeping them longer are important. The other side of it is Detail Experts. We have 20 plus years of doing this. We've kind of made all the mistakes that you can make in the business, so we can tell you how to do it right versus do it wrong. That's probably one of our biggest lessons learned that we love to share with franchise owners. And it's the other thing is you work in a family environment, because let's face it, whoever you decide to go in business with, you want to know that it's an environment that you feel comfortable working in. And working with a wonderful group of people makes all the difference in the world.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's probably one of the biggest differentiators of most companies. A lot of folks will say, we've got great training, we've got great support, we've got great this. But I found in my experience of almost 20 years in franchising that the biggest differentiator is the team, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You can have a okay, good system, but if you've got a great team, it's going to shine. And also vice versa, right? You have a great system. If you don't have the right team, it's going to be kind of mediocre. So I love that.
Right.
And then the experience and all of that you guys bring to the table. It's one thing to have the people, but then you've got that system in the process. And one of my favorite phrases in franchising is almost exactly what you said, is you don't have to keep getting it wrong until you get it right.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
You've already taken the black eyes, the bloody noses. We're going to start you out on third base. I've got all the cliches you want to hear when it comes to what people should think about when they're taking a look at owning a franchise, right?
That's right.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Now let's talk about areas. Do you have any areas out there and you're already international, so where else are you guys looking to explode, right? Because I think that's kind of where you're at in one of those inflection points. You've done it internationally, you've got all the demand and grown here in the States. Where are the other opportunities for someone that's listening into this?
Thank you, John. That is a great question. So when we think about it, water is an issue in a lot of places. And I would say in the Southwest is really a big issue. While we have an operation in the Phoenix area, there is lots of opportunity that we're seeing in that Phoenix market. We're seeing a lot of opportunities in Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, Florida. And there's quite a bit in the Mid-Atlantic area, so in the Hampton Roads area. So it's really exciting when we look at our top 25 locations, it all seems to fit in those areas that suffer the most with water concerns. So for us, we embrace that because that's what we're about. We see that being environmentally friendly is important, not only for us, but for the world at large.
I said this to my wife many, many years ago. I said, in 10, 15 years, what we're going to be talking about is water.
Yes.
Right? And this was about 10 years ago, and we're literally talking about water like every day. So I can see how that can fit in to with what you just described on where it just makes the most sense. So hot was kind of a pun, right? But in reality, where there's less water or harder access to get to the water just makes so much sense. Now, on top of that, though, the eco-friendly aspect of this, that's got to appeal to some folks, and it's legit. This isn't a company that says, hey, let's put a sticker or a label on something that says we're eco-friendly because we recycle everything. I mean, I get that part of it. You should do that anyway.
Yeah.
But it sounds like your company, though, some of the business model is focused around the fact you have that patent pending process. That is it a process or system?
It is a utility patent, so it's the
Perfect.
method.
Okay, great. So you've got that method of utilizing a lot less water to do that detail. It just seems like it's ingrained in there, man. That's just so exciting for folks that are looking for that kind of business.
Absolutely. It is not just something that we sit on a shelf, and it's not just something that we stick in our name. It is something that we live by every single day. I mean, we internally, we actually do a 360 evaluation system where we're evaluating each other on our core values: honesty, integrity, perseverance, fairness, and respect, and care for the environment. And I got to tell you, when I fail, yep, I fail in the area of care for environment. I mean, I am constantly reminded that it's the small things. Turn the water off when you're brushing your teeth.
Hmm.
Yes, you can recycle too, but it's going to be some of those things that really make a difference to show that we care about the environment and we're not just talking about it.
I agree 100%. And that's a great philosophy. You know, if you guys are living that, right? That's what's exciting to me is you're not just saying it, you're out there living it. And thanks for sharing with us about the occasional failure, right? You know, I mean, it's
It
how we
happens,
learn.
right?
Yeah, we learn and grow,
You got
right?
to talk
You
about
know?
the good and the bad. You can't
That's right.
pretend like you do everything right, because I
It's
don't think any human does.
no, no, it's not all rainbows and Skittles every day, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Though we love Skittles.
Let's take a look at the process someone would go through. So I'm surfing the internet. I find you. I'm overseas, or I'm here in the States, and I find you through the search engine. I go to Google and I'm looking up businesses to start. I found you. I fill out that form, or I call you on the phone. I've raised my hand and said, Angela and team, I'm interested in learning more about your amazing business. What does that look like? Just the high level, the milestones that someone would go through to learn about your business.
Exactly. So it's a 30 to 45-day process, which we call the discovery process.
Okay.
And it starts off with a very brief introductory call. So that's to get to know you.
Mhm.
We think that that's important because, again, it's about the people. You want to make sure you're getting that connection. If you're not getting that connection early, it's probably not going to come later either. So we like to have that. It is very short, 15 to 30 minutes. Then the next thing that we do is actually go through the financial model itself. We want to look at, all right, is this business, does it have market potential in the area that you're looking for? We had somebody to reach out to us, and they were in a very remote area. Well, there's a lot of cows, there's a lot of chickens, but it didn't appear like it was a lot of vehicles. So when you start looking at the market potential, you may decide this is not an area where this business model works. But if you do have a lot of vehicles going through the area, it probably is. Then we start to look at who's the competition. This part leads you into determining, is it financially feasible? And then from there, we are excited, you're excited. We invite you to a validation call where you get right into due diligence. You continue to be excited, and we're excited. We invite you to Discovery Day. Our Discovery Days are held in person now, and they're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And at that point, we ask for a decision.
All right. Now, I want to throw you a softball here because I think I know the answer to this one already. I'm assuming, because I can tell by your personality and what you guys are doing and like the system you put together and what's important to you, this isn't just the candidate taking a look at your company, right? Tell us a little bit about the process where you're taking a look at those folks too. I'm assuming it's that mutual due diligence process, right? It isn't just about them being financially qualified. It's got to be the right fit, right?
Yeah, John, that is a softball, but that is a very serious question. So thank you for not hitting me in the nose. But I will tell you this, that question is so important because franchises are not sold. Franchises are awarded. You have to be a good fit for the system, and the system has to be a good fit for you.
Right.
So as the discovery process is taking place, there's that evaluation that's happening on both ends, which is best. We feel that the individuals that we accept into our system, they have to empower, they have to agree with our core values, because if you cannot agree with those core values, it's not going to be a good fit. It's like a marriage. If you don't kind of agree on the financing, somebody's going to get in trouble. So therefore, it may not last.
You said a couple of key words there to me that to our listeners that are near and dear to my heart. So the awarding of franchises, right? It's got to be a mutual fit, agreeing with the systems and the philosophy and how the business works, and going through that type of due diligence. And I already knew that, even though we truly didn't even talk about that before the show. I already knew that. I can tell that's what you guys are looking for, the right fit, because you don't want to set someone up for failure. You want to reduce that
Absolutely.
risk and everyone wins, and the rising tide. I could give you 10 different things that I already know, right? Just
Yeah.
from this conversation so far. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for that ball.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I love throwing that one. I always like to make sure that the listeners understand that this isn't just a business transaction. That everything has to make sense from a business perspective. But
Yes.
again, if you've listened to any of my episodes whatsoever, you know that I'm a huge proponent of people do business with people.
Absolutely.
Other than say an online website that might deliver bazillion dollars a year of products, right, that'll remain unnamed.
Yes.
Other than that type of relationship, most of the time, I say 99% of the time, we do business with people, right?
Absolutely. And my husband would say that what is most important is you want to make sure you know who's on the other side of that letter, the other side of the computer. You want to know who you're dealing with. And the only way you can know that is going through this discovery process. So
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, let's shift gears here a little bit and talk about the cost to start the franchise. Now, I always refer everyone to read through the item 7 of the franchise disclosure documents. What we're going to talk about here today is just general information, but just give us an idea of what the ranges or the dollars that someone should look to invest in this type of business.
Yes. So what you would expect to invest is 35,000 for the initial franchise fee.
Okay.
And it's roughly 35,000 for your initial equipment, inventory, licensing, and etc. So you're looking about 70,000 to start the business. And of course, as you grow and scale the business, you would invest in additional equipment, etc.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. It seems like a very reasonable startup cost, right? With the half of that almost more or less being equipment that you would need to buy, even if you were thinking about doing it on your own, you would still have to
Absolutely.
buy the right equipment. So the delta difference there is a very minimal amount when you consider the value of what the franchise company is actually providing for me as well.
Absolutely.
So good
Absolutely.
deal. Now, how long does it take to get open? I've gone through the mutual due diligence. We both like each other. We decide to sign on the dotted line. I've paid my $35,000 franchise fee. Like, what does that opening process look like? How long does it take from the time that I say yes and you've approved me to the time that I'm actually open for business? Just generally speaking.
Yeah, it's about 45 days.
Okay.
So if you remember, it's like 30 to 45 days through the discovery process, and it's
Mhm.
about 45 days. So let me tell you what happens during the 45 days.
Yeah.
With those 45 days, you are involved in intensive training. You're immediately signed a coach. That coach is going to work with you on everything from understanding your market analysis to getting your first 100 potential client list together. All of that happens in the pre-training session, which is 40 to 80 hours.
Okay.
Then we actually have the initial training where you would come to Chattanooga. You spend a Monday through Friday, and literally by the time you get back home Friday evening, your doors can be open.
Wow, that seems like it's very
Also,
turnkey. Yeah.
that's right. Then we continue the training by field level training where we come on site and work with you. That is like what we see as that 45-day period. We take you through pre-training, initial training, and field level training. Now you're ready to go.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. That's great. Now, as we move into the wrap up phase here on the show, I want to talk a little bit about the franchise owner support. You alluded to it just a little bit there. So I'm fully trained. I'm open and operating. I've got questions. I want to grow faster, bigger, whatever it is. I want to scale. I need some help. You mentioned being assigned a coach. Is that person with me? Am I working with a different crew? How does the support work? Because every franchise does that a little bit differently.
Yeah, that support is absolutely critical. The first step is you are assigned a coach, and that coach is there to help you through every phase of the project, not just for when you first start, but throughout. It's almost like your entry into DetailXPerts is through your coach.
Okay.
So we start with that. Then another thing that we offer is our national cost center. That's where we have call center agents making outbound calls in your territory to schedule demonstrations for you. We think that that outbound call center process is critical, not to grow your whole business for you, but to help you kick up enough dust so that when you're out, boots on the ground, working your business, which is a day in the life for a franchise owner, then you can actually have some appointments to go to. We'll call these warm leads. Then what we also make important is marketing training. That's everything from search engine optimization that I mentioned earlier to deciding what's the right collateral and what's the right campaigns for you to work. And those are important. Your coach will help you through that. We have numerous resource tools, from tools, templates, letters like sample agreements, contracts, etc. And then there's ongoing team building with our franchise organization, not just with those people that work in the corporate office, but also other franchise owners, which is just as important, because they can tell you what's working in their market so you can try it in yours, and they'll tell you what's not working in their market. Every market is a little bit different, but I think that is important to have that ongoing support. So we believe that between the coach, the National Cost Center, and our ongoing training and support, that's how we truly support our franchise owners.
It sounds like you have all the bases covered. It sounds very comprehensive, right? It's not just, oh, we do one or two things and we help them, and you're very detailed on getting. It's almost a different connotation on detail experts, right? You've given them a lot of detail on what they're actually getting for the money, which I think is a great value proposition. It sounds like you're providing a lot of ongoing assistance to that franchise owner. They've got to go out there and get it. You're not looking for couch potatoes, right? So you want someone that's going to go out in the market and help you grow that business, or you're going to help them grow the business. The word being with them, not for them, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now that leads me right into my last question here for you, and then I'll give you some time to do a recap. What is a day in the life of a typical franchise owner? Now there's a lot of different things to do. We're just talking about an average owner on an average day.
Yes. Well, the most important thing for that franchise owner is this is an executive model. So he's managing the daily operations of the business, which is important. We suggest that that franchise owner hire 1 to 2 employees that they would start off working with. And those 2 employees will go out and do the actual detailing of the business, which will allow that franchise owner to be the one to talk to people, relate to people, and do the business development. Of course, they'll continue to build and coach their team, which is absolutely important, but they have to be out in the community. They have to let people know what services that they're offering, etc. When we talk about planning your day, it's the same thing that I would do or you would do in building your business. You're outreaching, you're networking with other business owners, you're reaching out to other people in the community. Customer service is important. So yes, you're making the phone calls to follow up and courtesy calls to make sure what you did met their expectations. All of those things are important, but more so than anything, you're responsible for the profit and loss of the business. So you have to manage that portion of the business. Do you have to do it yourself? No, you can hire somebody else to do that for you. But at the end of the day, it is your responsibility as a franchise owner to grow your business with our assistance.
That's a great way to put it. Thank you for sharing that, for sure, because I think there was a lot of folks wondering, what do I do every day? If I go through the due diligence, it's the right fit, we get along, we're same, type of thinking, of like minds. What is it I'm going to be doing on a day to day? And it sounds like they're going to become a real integral part of the community, have in the beginning a small team that they'll be overseeing and coaching and mentoring as well, and then going out there and growing the business. And it sounds pretty exciting for those types of folks, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really exciting. It's exciting. Every time I see a new franchise owner start, I think about Joe when he first started his business. 30 years in the executive management position. And when he decided to become a franchise owner, it was like, now I want to create that same kind of operation for myself. And the team that he started working with was so excited because they stayed with him forever. So, I love it because you build these relationships that are long lasting, and people are there because they believe in your vision.
Well, folks, I interview a lot of franchise founders, and I will tell you, Angela's passion is coming through the audio, right? I can hear it and feel it through the screen here. Angela, thank you for sharing it that way. Like, you could have just given us the information, and here's all the info, right? Let me know if you're interested. But I can tell by your passion that you're probably even a little more passionate than I am about franchising, and I live and breathe franchising. So
look, John, I think you're pretty passionate too.
I love it. My wife tells me every year before the holidays, she's like, you're only allowed to say the word franchise one time at Thanksgiving. That's it, right? Good deal. Well, Angela, it was great having you on the show here. Right. It was great having you on the show. I want to give you the last minute or two here to do kind of a recap, and then I'll ask you for the contact information on how you want folks to reach out to you guys as well. So just give us a little quick recap, and we'll wrap it up here at the end. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, John, so much. Well, Detail Experts is definitely a franchise that's looking for individuals that want to change their lives. But more so than that, they want to use eco-friendly products and processes to do that. It is one of the toolkits that we find that are so, so important. What we say is in Detail Experts, you get to do more of what you like.
I love it. I love it. Well, folks, strongly encourage you to reach out to Angela and her team. If you do, just mention you heard the franchise radio show interview. We'd appreciate that. We're joined today, Angela Williams, president and co-founder of DetailXPerts. Angela, thank you so much.